Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the start of the season, and so far so good. We are 28-13 with no overtime or shootout losses, which is a little bit strange, but it's been a good start to the year, and I'm hoping obviously the team can continue on this trajectory. I think obviously playoffs should be a lock this season, but I'm obviously not too sure on how long of a playoff team we're going to be for. So hoping that we can just basically continue on this good season, and then hopefully in the playoffs we kind of flip a switch, because obviously the last few years have been kind of disappointing with the early exits that we've had, because we've been losing in like finals and conference finals. Like, we haven't found a way to win that Stanley Cup yet, and we're kind of running out of time. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good episode from this team. There has been a little bit of also some problems with our team in terms of staying healthy. That's the one concern that we had in the last episode, is we missed a lot of guys due to injuries. You can see at the moment 3 injuries in our team, 2 of them in our forward group and 1 on our defensive group. So Nicholas Holmstrom, despite it being January the 19th, he has missed a ton of games. He's been solid when he has played, 8 points in 15 games. So hopefully when he comes back, he could do relatively well. But yeah, he's missed a lot of time, only with an upper body injury as well. So kind of sucks that we've missed him for so much this season. Also, Brian Biggers, who I was excited about giving a little bit more ice time to this year, he has 9 points in 25 games, because he's also missed a lot due to injury, or at least a little bit over the last 2 weeks. And then also this injury to Nikolai Kazanov, the rookie, who we were expecting to play a lot of games this year. He's only played 14 games at this point, and he's still out for quite a while. So it's unfortunate that we've had these big of injuries, but at least we should be still healthy going into the playoffs, unless we have more injuries in this episode. So hopefully these guys stay healthy once they get back into the lineup, because right now our team is a little bit weak when we have all our depth forwards in, like Olsen, for instance. Not really a third line type of guy, but he's in our lineup on that third line. And then from a defensive standpoint, you can see Nathaniel Carlton gets put on this top 4 pairing, which definitely doesn't make us look as strong as when we have an 83 and Holmstrom in that pairing. So yeah, hopefully we stay healthier in the second half of the season, and hopefully we continue to win games. Like, it's kind of surprising we've been able to win as much as we have with like a little bit of a depleted roster. But anyways, before we get into simulating more of the season, maybe making some trades depending on what the team does and all that type of thing, let's get in you guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll see what this team could do. So the first and only comment is from Samurai Taku. Says, definitely a much better result than expected so far given the injury problems. The only adjustment to make might be to trade one of your depth defensemen to give Carlton a full-time spot on the top 6. And I don't know if we're going to necessarily need to make a trade, because I was actually looking into that a little bit before I started recording this episode. And technically, if we look at our defensive core right now here, obviously once Holmstrom's back, Carlton would get scratched. Now, the good thing is, technically, Fisher's actually listed it as a depth defenseman, so hypothetically what I could do here is put Carlton right in that exact spot. Fisher could be a healthy scratch, potentially, even though he's a solid fit for that top 6 pairing, because we did scheme fit Gustafsson, so technically we could try and scheme fit Carlton to fit that top 6 pairing, and then we should be okay using Fisher as a depth defenseman, which is not bad. Both of them have actually been pretty good so far. If we look at like Fisher, for instance, 6 points in 41 games, even 0, so he's not been bad defensively. And then Carlton, who has played a little bit less games, obviously, because he's been a depth defender, has more points, and he's only played 26 games, and he's also +2. So I think having him on our top 6 pairing next to Gustafsson might not be a bad idea once Holmstrom returns. And like I said, then we could also try and scheme fit Carlton to fit that top 6 pairing, and then basically Fisher just becomes the depth defenseman. But I think our defensive core is still pretty good with that. And as long as our forward group gets healthy again and we don't suffer any big injuries, I think this team might honestly stay the same for the rest of the season, depending on, I guess, how we simulate and that type of thing. So with that said, I think we're going to continue to simulate to start off this episode. Obviously, we want to get to the first of the month of February. Most guys should be healthy close to that point. Like, if we go to our injury report at the moment, Biggers will be back on January the 25th, so he's literally back in 6 days. That will get him back onto that third line, which is nice. February 7th is when Holmstrom returns, so still a little bit of while before Holmstrom actually returns from injury. Means we won't be able to try and scheme fit him to see if he fits that top 4 until the start of March, so he might not be scheme fitted before the playoffs, which is unfortunate. And then Kazanov isn't back till February the 15th, so just under a month away. So all these guys will be back 1 week after each other pretty much, but hopefully we don't suffer any more injuries because or else we'll have to call up people from the minors. So let's continue to simulate. Let's go to February the 1st. And like I said, hopefully we could win games still in this episode. Like, our team's been pretty good so far this season. Like I said, 13 losses is a lot of regulation losses, kind of, in a way, but to have 28 regulation wins and no overtime or shootout losses at this point in time is pretty insane. So it's either we win a game in regulation or we lose in regulation right now, which we probably prefer to lose, obviously, in overtime, but that hasn't been the case so far. So anyways, let's go to the first and see what we could do here. And yeah, I guess we won't be able to scheme fit Carlton for our top 6 until the start of March as well, just because obviously Holmstrom will be back by then and all that. So there's Big Risk returning after a nice little 2-game win streak after we lost the first game to start this episode. So we'll take Olsen back out. There is some people on this team that might not be super happy with their ice time, but there's not really too much we could do about it at the moment, at least. Like, technically, Sundin, I think, was a third-line scoring forward, third-line checking forward, so his ice time's not the best at the moment, but it's not the best we could do. Also, Korolyuk might not be liking his ice time too much. We could technically make trades to address this, but I think I might wait till the offseason to do that. Korolyuk's only signed for 1 year. There's a chance maybe we don't bring him back, or we trade Leahy and Korolyuk moves to a third-line center next season. I'm not really too sure. So right now, I just don't think this team really needs any huge adjustment because they've been really good during the regular season. They just need to find that playoff success, basically. And then we could basically win ourselves the Stanley Cup, hopefully. So 33-15, a couple losses, but a lot more wins, which is good. We've won 5 of the last 7. So 33-15. I don't think I want to scheme fit anybody yet. I could try and scheme fit Carlton for that top 6 pairing already, just because Holmstrom isn't back till the 7th. So we might as well go ahead and try and do that. So if we go to Carlton here, which he's on the bottom of this list probably, right? Yep. We'll go to him and see if he could fit our top 6 pairing better. So if we go on ice play and we go scheme fit, it is apparently convincing, so we should be able to get him to fit our top 6 thing, but apparently right now he doesn't want that because he says he thinks he's not playing well, apparently, which is kind of surprising, but kind of surprised he said no to that because it said it was convincing, so I guess it was like a 50-50 chance or a 60-40 chance, and he chose the 40 chance, so I guess we'll have to wait till March like we are going to with Holmstrom, just because you can't do that while they're injured, unfortunately, or else I would have got Holmstrom scheme fitted hopefully sooner than that. So I guess we'll continue to simulate. Right now, as you can see, also with our individual numbers, we've been really good. Like, we're 2nd in offense right now, 4th in goals against, 3rd on the power play, and 9th on the penalty kills. So top 10 in everything. We should be a good team during the season. Obviously, the playoffs could be a completely different animal, so I'm a little bit worried about the postseason ahead, but obviously we'll come to that when we get to it. So let's go to the 7th, just because that's when Holmstrom's supposed to return. And then we can get our defensive line set back up again. So we only have 1 game before then. And hey, that's actually a perfect timing for that injury. Unfortunately, it's to Fisher, but that's like the perfect timing because Fisher was going to get replaced anyways and become the healthy scratch defenseman. But now that means we still don't have a depth defender at the moment. At least it's not till the 16th that he returns. So he will be back shortly after the break, it looks like. So let's go edit lines manually for a second. We'll just put in a forward because literally it's 1 game that we just played and no other games up until that point. So I'm going to go to scratched. We're going to just throw Olsen in the spot for a second here until we see Holmstrom is back, which, boom, there he is. All right, so basically to readdress our defensive core, we are going to go to Carlton and we're going to take him off that top 4 pairing. Holmstrom's going to be back, which is fantastic. Obviously, it's been a long time since he's played. And we will take Olsen out here and throw Carlton into that top 6 pairing. And that actually works relatively well. But like I said, Carlton's not a fantastic fit yet for that top 6. So I would like to scheme fit him there if we can. And then once basically Fisher's back, he'll end up being just a depth defenseman for this team. Even though he's been good, he will be a healthy scratch. And then we're just waiting on Kazanov. And then we're back to actually being a healthy team pretty much. So I'll stop the sim there. Let me actually see what's happening. Okay, yeah, we won against Ottawa. And we literally don't have a game till the 11th. So Fisher will be missing just under a week, basically, before he'll be back as our depth defenseman. And Kazanov is back too. So that nice little break actually happened right at the right time. So we can get ourselves back to healthy for the rest of the season. So we'll move, who was it that was on the fourth line? I guess it was Sundin that had to come out of the lineup. So we get Sundin out of the lineup, we'll get Kazanov in. Kazanov goes up to this line. Mashenko goes down, wasn't it? I think so. Unless, did I have Bigris as a fourth line guy? I think I might have had Bigris as a fourth liner to start the season, but I can't do that now. We're a little bit too deep of a team, almost in a way too, because we might get into some morale problems, but we'll come to that in the off season if we can. And aside from that, we should be good, right? Bigris, yeah, Bigris was not on that top PK. That was definitely where Kazanov was before. But I would prefer Bigris to stay where he is right now. I could put Bigris on one of these pelling kills. So let's take Leahy off and give Bigris some pelling kill time, because or else he might complain about his ice time a little bit. So that should be good. And scratches, yeah. Sundin getting scratches probably not a great idea as well, considering he's not listed as a depth forward. I could throw him in instead of Ulanov, but Ulanov, I don't know if he would complain too. I might honestly have to bring in another depth forward and get rid of somebody if I want people happy. But I don't know if I really want to do that yet. We'll see if any morale problems become an issue. But that's the one thing with us being healthy, is not everybody's going to get the play. So let's continue to simulate. Let's go to the 1st of March. And we'll be able to try and scheme fit Holmstrom and Carlton again. Vancouver has fired their head coach. All right. Graham Clark. All right. We do beat San Jose. Our team's been doing so well this season, though. Like I said, the injuries haven't really helped us, are hurting us at all. And Kazanov's losing morale because of ice time, unfortunately. That's not one we want. Edmonton has fired their head coach. I was just looking at the morale stuff, and there's a big injury as well. It's only for a few weeks, or for a week or so. Bjorkstrand out with a sore foot. Let's go edit lines manually on that, and we will readjust this. So Ragnarsson will go to the top line, I guess. Technically, I could move Cialfito up there, but let's go Ragnarsson top line, Biggers into the top 6. Kazanov could go over to the right wing. Mashenko could go over here, and then we'll get Sundin right back in where he was. Sundin, I guess, could get some power play time. Really doesn't matter too much. I just don't want anybody to start dropping off due to morale here. Okay, yeah, it's fine for now. It's only for like a week, so it's not a huge loss, but our team still looks pretty good even without Bjorkstrand on it, so. I don't know if I really like, though, that we're going to end up having guys scratched that shouldn't be scratched. I'm trying to think if I want to trade away Sundin this season to get basically just a depth forward. It's not that Sundin's been bad, but he doesn't really have the ice time he deserves on this team. So, and he is only signed for 1 year. You know what? We might end up looking to trade him. And bringing in a depth forward. That's Fisher back. That's the depth defenseman now. Komatov's back for the AHL. Was he actually injured? I don't remember in last episode. That's one of the best goalie prospects we have at the moment. So he was not. Okay, so I guess it was just a day-to-day thing. For some reason, I thought he actually might have gotten injured, but he didn't. Let me stop this in because I can't even see what's going on here. We're still winning a lot of games. God damn, boys. God damn. Do I want to look to trade away Sundin for a depth forward right now already? You know what? I think that might be a best play, is just to do it right now. It's like I said, it's not that Sundin's been bad for us, but he's going to lose morale quick if he's scratched as a third-line checking forward. There's just no way around it. So we will go Sundin for a random depth forward if we can. So even though, like I said, I don't want to really trade away Sundin, this is something we have to do. He has no value whatsoever, too, so it's not the end of the world. Let's trade him to a Western Conference team like the Flames. And do they have a depth forward we could utilize? McIntyre. McIntyre's a 77/31. Aussie McIntyre. Fourth line guy, though. Why is he listed as a fourth liner as a 77? Xavier Bourgault. Don't really want Bourgault. Okay, so the Flames aren't going to work. We want to do a Western team, not Chicago, because I've dealt so much with them. We got to spread around the wealth a little bit around the league. So let's go Edmonton, who's been pretty bad this season. Let's see what they got for depth forwards. Okay, they have some people for sure. Jaskin in the minors. They don't want to trade him. McFarland, 77 out of 25. Depth forward, Eddie McFarland, left wing, right wing. That's kind of nice. Not the best defensive awareness, but he is a sniper. Lume is a sniper as well. How good is Lume defensively? Lume's actually pretty solid defensively for a sniper. He's got 7 goals in 54 games. Ooh, the plus minus is much better on McFarland though. Much, much better. But way less ice time too. Both those guys aren't very good to be honest though, but trying to find one solid depth forward option. Rogowski, 78 at 32. He's playing in the AHL. He's never played an NHL game. How good is his defensive stats? Not very good. Oh man, it's tough to find an actual player I would want to utilize. Maxime Bourgeot. No, thank you. Let's take a look at some other teams. There's got to be somebody here, right? That would be a good depth forward for our team. Jovanovski, 77 overall depth forward. Sniper as well. Good face-off stats. 3-star defensively is not terrible either. But he's 31 years old. Was a former first-round pick, but he didn't pan out. Huh. What else did they got? Let's see. 78 in Bartley, who is in the AHL at the moment. Only signed for 1 year. Also listed as a depth forward. Has played NHL games in the past. Never played an NHL playoff game, but is a two-way forward. Not good face-off stats, but good awareness. So Bartley's what I would look to bring in. So this might go through as is, just 1-for-1. So let's see if it works. If it goes 1-for-1, that's fine with me. Because, like I said, Sundin's not going to be much of anything here going forward. Let's see if it works. And it works. Okay, perfect. So we get ourselves in a guy that's actually listed as a depth forward. We get rid of a player that's not going to really work with our roster anymore. Maybe a little bit of a better deal for the LA Kings, but now we won't have anybody complain about ice time with Bartley. Technically, Mashenko's a depth forward too, but he's got potential, so I obviously want him in the lineup going forward. So we're going to go to this fourth line here and just put in that guy we just brought in from the Kings, basically until we are fully healthy, and then he'll come out of the lineup. So Bartley will go in this spot, and hopefully that helps us out defensively when we have to throw in those depth options. You also get, I guess, some power play time for now, but it doesn't matter too much. It's just basically until Bjorkstrand is back from his injury. So there's a little trade, lateral move, basically. Makes us a little bit worse, but at the same time, it also makes us have a depth forward rather than a checking forward that would start dropping off probably. So let's go to the 1st of March still. We got a lot more games still left this month. See if we can continue to win some games. We do beat Colorado 4-1. We beat Vancouver 4-3. This team, honestly, is doing really, really good on the amount of wins we have. Holy moly. This might be one of the best seasons we've had in a while, unless we start to fall off a bit. But Kishwan Atchison is this guy's name, it said? Kishwan Atchison is not a bad player, but we don't really need a guy that's listed as a top 6 when we already have top 6 defenders. I just don't want the guys losing morale and all that. Bjorkstrand's back, so despite the injuries, we are still winning games. A lot of people are still losing morale on this team due to ice time, which is a very big concern going forward. So we might have some tough decisions to make this offseason, but I don't think I want to make those decisions really right now. So let's go you up, you to here, I think. Yeah, you to here. Bjorkstrand to top line. Boom. And that's good. Why is Ciofito losing morale because of ice time? No, because he's on the power play too. Is it just because he's on the second line or what? He's listed as a first liner. Literally our entire top 6 is listed as first liners. So we have a lot of competition up there. That's going to be really tough because most of these guys have clauses. So I don't really know if there's a way I could get them more ice time. Unless I just basically flip-flop some people, get some people more power play time. Give people like Ciofito maybe some penalty kill time. Like, our penalty kill's been pretty good so far, but yeah, he's not on the PK. I guess I have to get him into a line somewhere, right? But where would I put him in? I would basically have to take Kazanov off, and then Kazanov would complain, so I think we're going to have to still run with this, but yeah, we definitely have a lot of players that should be higher up. Because I think even guys like Leahy and Biggers technically are listed as second line forwards. So we have some tough decisions to make in the offseason. I'm not going to do it this season because I just don't think it's time to do something like that. But yeah, this has been a good season, and it's probably just because we have a lot of guys that are probably too good for their spots currently. So anyways, 43-16 to start the season, or actually we're not to start the season, for most of the season, which is good. Let's take an updated look at our numbers here in terms of team stats here, not our player leaders. But at the moment, we are currently third in goals for. We are second in goals against, second on the power play, and fifth on the penalty kills. So guys should not be complaining too much with how good this team is doing, but they are. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go back to the scheme fitting stuff again. And we're going to talk to Holmstrom again, and also to the young defenseman Carlton for that top six pairing. Try and get them to fit that certain pairing. Very risky still in Holmstrom, so there's a chance he might not change before the season ends, but it's the best we could do. So let's go scheme fit again, see if we could get him to change, and he still does not want to change, important. Apparently, that kind of sucks. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Nothing we could do about it. We're going to keep on going after him to try and change, but he might not. And let's talk to Carlton here. Actually, I don't know how good of a fit Bartley is as a depth forward for this team, so maybe I should look into him as well. But maybe not, actually. Since he's a depth forward, he'll be changed around in the lineup a lot. Let's go play style. And, oh, geez, I didn't want to go with that. I didn't want to change his play style. I want to go on ice play. Maybe I already have him scheme fitted. Did I scheme fit him properly last time? I think I must have. No, I guess maybe not. I don't know. He's not allowing me to change it, so I guess maybe I did it already. I don't remember. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that's fine. That is fine. Let's continue to simulate. We are 43-16, 9-1 in our last 10 games, and we've barely lost games over the last little bit of the season. Like, there's definitely playoffs for this Islanders team, but are we simulating too good that we're going to be a first-round exit? Like, if you look over the last little while, there's lost to Pittsburgh, but before then, we did not lose since, like, a month earlier than that against the Kings. Before that, we did not lose since here against Columbus, and before that, we didn't lose to here. So we only have, like, 4 losses, maybe, since early January, which is pretty insane. So this team's on a really good path right now, but is it going to make us too good? And in, like, playoffs, like I said, are we going to be a first-round exit because of that? Or is this team going to fall off in the second half at all? We do lose to the Capitals to start off March. And do I actually still want to jump into the trade deadline or not? I'm trying to think if there's any really big weakness with this team. Not really. We have good goaltending. We have good offense. We have good special teams. The only thing that's a little bit concerning is the amount of ice time going around the team. But I don't think I want to make those decisions yet. I would prefer to make them in the offseason or something like that. We still have 22 games to go. You know what? I don't think I'm going to make a single trade this year at the deadline. I just don't think there's any use to making one. Hopefully we stay healthy down the rest of the stretch. But yeah, let's go to a day after the deadline. And we'll take a look at the deadline deals that happened this year. But I just don't think this team needs to make any trades. Oh my goodness. Of course, after I said that, that's only for a week, luckily though. God damn, that was a little bit scary. Because Houghton's been one of our best players. I think it said that he was leading us in points, but he's out for a little bit with an injured shoulder. Let's go replace player on that, but he's, like I said, he's only out for a week. So we could still make a trade for another depth offensive defenseman if we really wanted to, but I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to just bypass this deadline. Even with Houghton being injured, like I said, he's literally going to be back in a few days, so it's not a huge loss right now. And we've been able to win games without those type of guys. What's kind of funny is Jack Hughes is apparently on waivers, signed for 2 years left. How good of an overall is he? He's 77 now at this point. He'd be a good depth forward, don't get me wrong, because he does produce probably still a good amount. Yeah, last year he had 58 points. This year he's only on 19 points. Definitely has dropped off quite a bit. But I just don't think we have any use for somebody like that. He's only won 2 Lady Bings and nothing else so far in his career, so he's still looking for a Stanley Cup, but I'm not going to claim Jack Hughes at the moment. All right, so 2 losses to start off this month. Not ideal, but it could be because of the loss of Houghton. Like I said, I don't care if we lose a couple games anyways with Houghton being out. because he's going to be important once we get back to the playoffs and all that. Let's take a look at the trades that happened at the deadline just because I almost forgot about doing that. Let's take a look and see if any former players got flipped around here. Let's see. Any names I recognize? I recognize Hybert from being on the block, I think. Jonathan Sierra, our former defenseman, has just been traded to the Colorado Avalanche, which means he's going to be joining Salmelainen there, so that's kind of interesting. So, a couple former Islanders now in Colorado. Aside from that, William Eklund to the Rangers because he's still playing at this point in time. Connor Geekie to Boston. Cole Caulfield to San Jose. Zach Benson to Montreal. Riker Evans joins him as well. Aside from that, a lot of generated players. Not really recognizing too many other people at the moment. Braxton Wakabayashi got dealt from Columbus to Washington. With Antti Hagman, our former depth defenseman. That's kind of funny. He signed back in Columbus, though, because he was originally brought in from Columbus by our team. Michael Misa got dealt to the Rangers with Johnny Peterson from Columbus as well. So Columbus offloaded a couple people. And enters our Sundin deal. So not a crazy deadline this year. And like I said, it didn't really make sense for us to move players this year either. All right. Well, let's continue to simulate a little bit until Houghton is fully healthy, which will be in the coming days. We got 2 games before he will be back. Boston's the first one. Tatar was never injured. I thought he got injured, and I was going to be like, damn, our top 2 defenders go down with injuries. Shootout win over Boston, and 1-0 that game was. Houghton is back, so that's fantastic, because he could be still a Norris favorite this season, which would be awesome if he could win another. Hopefully that injury didn't ruin his chances at the Norris, because that would kind of suck, because it was only for a few days, but it could still play a major factor in his Norris Trophy chances. Looks like Olsen's dropping off due to ice time. Yeah, he is. That's kind of makes no sense because he's listed as a depth forward, so he shouldn't be complaining too much, but here he is. Everybody on our forward group hasn't dropped off too much. Mishenko is a 79 now. I don't know if that's ice time related or not. So far, we've been on a little bit of a bad stretch to start off this month, but kind of makes sense with how good we were doing beforehand. We've lost 3 of our first 5 games of the month, and we only won 1 in a shootout, but it is what it is. I expect now this team to start winning games with Houghton being back again. So let's go to the 24th. Take a little bit slow, even though we know we're going to be a playoff team. See if we can get back to our winning ways. And yes, we can. Back-to-back wins there. Game against Columbus, who's lost a lot more in the second half. We beat them as well. Columbus again in a back-to-back 5-1 win. Rangers 8-1 victory. Goddamn, boys. 8-3 victory, so back-to-back 8-goal games for this team, and in a 3-2 shootout win. We're up to 52-19 on the season. We still have 11 games to go. Yeah, this is maybe going to end up being the best regular season we've had in our franchise mode so far. Really hope our playoffs is good, though, too, because like I said, if we're going to do this good during a regular season, we need some playoff success as well. 8-5 loss to Carolina, 3-1 loss to, not Toronto, St. Louis there, which puts us to 52-21 on the year, headed into April. All right. Pretty damn good. I could try and scheme fit Holmstrom again right now, but I don't know if he will. It says, I think, very risky still, but we'll double check just in case and see if he wants to change it at all. Let's see. Where are you, Holmstrom? There you are. Let's see. Can I see if you would adjust to our top 4 a little bit, or are you going to say no still? Still very risky. Let's still try because there's no reason not to, because I don't think it's going to make him lose morale because of it. But let's try and scheme fit him still for that second pairing, and he still does not want to. Okay. Well, I guess we probably won't be able to get Holmstrom to fit that top 4 perfectly, which kind of sucks, but it's not like he's a terrible fit for that second pairing either, but it would be nice to get him to being a better fit for it. But or at least our rest of our defensive core and our offensive core has good chemistry. So let's go another week and see if we could take this from 52 to 56 wins. There's a win. There is another win. There is probably another win. Nope. 8-5 loss to Toronto. Damn. And Florida, we lose 2-1. So like I said, not as good of a little bit the last month or so. We've lost more games, but we still have 54 wins. There's no reason not to be happy with how the season has been. With the amount of injuries we've had as well for our team to be able to put up this amount of wins is pretty impressive. So there's 3 more straight wins, and Washington to end off the weekend. And we got 1 game left. We lost that one 2-1. Our last game of the season against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Can we win 58 games this year? Yes, we can. So 58-24 with no overtime or shootout losses. I don't think I've ever had a season where I've had no overtime or shootout losses before, but that's kind of impressive. Did we have overtime wins? I guess, yeah, we had some shootout wins. We had some overtime wins, so we are undefeated in extra frame, which is pretty insane. So I will definitely take that. There's some other teams that are still wrapping up their season, so let's just advance one more day. And that should be it. Perfect. All right, so let's take a look at the standings and all that stuff. Let's actually hide everything so we don't see our team leaders and points and all that, because I do not want to know who's leading us in points right now. That's why I'm closing my eyes. Okay, perfect. We got it. Good. Did it without even looking. All right, so in terms of the entire league, we finished actually as the second best team in the NHL. Damn, I thought we were going to win the President's Trophy this year, but Vegas wins it with a 60-19-3 record. I'm okay with us finishing second place because maybe that gives us a higher chance to win the Stanley Cup this year. We were by far the best team in the East, though, by a total of 7 points. So Western Conference was really strong with Chicago, LA, and Vegas. In terms of goals for per game, we were the 3rd best offensive team behind the Blackhawks and the Rangers. All right. Blackhawks, obviously, we made a trade with them last offseason, too, so that's kind of insane. But the Rangers doing really good with Guerin, obviously. Goals against per game, we are the 2nd best defensive team, only behind the Vegas Golden Knights. So good offense, good defense, as you'd expect. Our power play percentage was also top 5 at 4th in the league, only behind the Rangers, Blackhawks, and Predators had number 1 despite being 15th in the entire league. And then in terms of our penalty kill, we were the 2nd best team on the penalty kill, only behind the 27th place Buffalo Sabres. Damn. So in general, we were one of the best teams in every single area, which is good to see. Only 5 shorthanded goals, 30-11 on home ice, 28-13 on the road, 6-4 in our last 10 games, but this team should be ready to go for a Stanley Cup this year. Anything short of a Stanley Cup would be kind of disappointing, and there's our team leader in points in Mäkinen with 86 points. So it's kind of surprising that we still don't have that stud that runs away with over 100 points in a season, but we have probably really good depth scoring, which is good to see. Let's once again go full screen here, and I'm going to close my eyes and try and change over to position without even looking at who's leading us in points other than Mäkinen. Come on, you stupid thing. There you go. Okay, I saw that. That looks good. Boom, and there we go. Okay, so yeah, good depth scoring. That looks like the thing that has helped our team out a lot. So Mäkinen, 86 points in 81 games. He missed a game due to injury. Still very good numbers from him. Giordano had a good year as well. 81 points, 32 goals. Maybe that led the team. Good year. Bjorkstrand, 63 points in 76 games. He missed, obviously, a good chunk due to injury. Only 6 games, but still pretty solid numbers. But I'd still kind of a little bit disappointed in how he's been, because I thought he was going to be a lot better production-wise when he had, like, a number of years ago, he had 78 points. But since then, he's not been really the same player. But he's still a good player, just not as good as we expected. Leahy on 46 points, not bad. That's with no power play points, so I don't know if he's even on the power play. I don't even know if he's on the power play. I thought he was on the power play, though. Didn't lose any morale, so he must be on the power play. Korliuk on 32 points, -8, and then Olsen 5 points in 15 games as a depth forward. Pretty good depth scoring there down the middle. Obviously, some of those guys are wingers, too. From a left wing perspective, we had Cialfito on 75 points this year. Big year from Cialfito. Big year from Ross. Love to see it. What's his contract like again? 2-year deal. Oh, yeah, and then we have to give him a lot of money. A little bit worried on that. Because he's probably going to ask a lot of money. A lot of money. At least we have people that could probably replace him eventually, but I don't really want to lose Cialfito. I kind of really like this guy as a playmaker. Crane on 74 points as the captain, 30 goals. Good season for Crane. We also had Ragnarsson on 65 points and 31 goals. A lot of 30 goal scorers on the team, it looks like, so far. Biggers, 29 points, 63 games. Obviously missed a good chunk of games, but still put up some okay numbers. Mishenko, 25 points in his rookie season, not bad. And then Kazanov, 21 points in 47 games. because he also missed like almost half the season due to injuries. So a couple injuries that obviously were not great, but a full season from Kazanov and Biggers next year might be good. So at least, like I said, those are the type of guys that can maybe replace Sealfido on that top 6 down the road. Aside from that, Bartley 3 points in 5 games as a depth option. That's pretty damn solid. Obviously, he was playing in the AHL earlier this year with Ontario, but he has joined our team and has been a pretty solid depth forward for us so far. From a right wing perspective, what do we got? 13 points from Ulanov. He's our only right winger. -6. Could be better, could be worse. Like I said, we could definitely find a way to trade him away in the offseason if we want to, but from a forward perspective, I am pretty impressed with the offense on this team. As you can see, like, the depth scoring is good. If we look at goal scoring, we literally had 430 goal scorers, 520 goal scorers, basically, and then a bunch of guys on 10-plus goals. Our worst player probably this season was Ulanov, based on the points and the goal scoring, but everybody else scored a decent chunk of goals and also contributed with points. What about from a defensive standpoint? Is Houghton maybe another Norris favorite this year, despite that short-term injury? Yes, he probably is. 80 points in 79 games for Ole this year, and he's a plus 44, so another big year from Ole this year. This might be a career season from him, is it? No, it's not. 90 points was, but still, this is better than last year when he won it. So I think he's definitely got a good chance. Good plus-minus point production. Like, he was over point per game as a defenseman. Career high in goals, it looks like, with 24 of them. So, yeah, Houghton's insane. 725 career points in 936 games. The only thing that kind of sucks is he's already 31, but he's still looking fantastic, and we still have him locked up for probably the rest of his career. So, very happy with that. Obviously, that trade that we made with Chicago all those years ago, picking up him, we definitely won that deal, and I'm very happy. If we play against Chicago in a cup finals, it would be kind of interesting for Ole's sake, just because he was drafted by them and never played for them, I'm pretty sure. Tatar, 44 points, plus 35. Great defensive season from him. Also solid offensive numbers. Schaefer, 21 points, plus 11. He was good. Carlton, 17 points, plus 11. He came into the lineup and actually did a really good job this year. Wasn't expecting him to do much, but yeah, he put up as much points as Holmstrom. Obviously, Holmstrom missed a good chunk of games this year. Holmstrom missed almost half the season as well, but yeah, Holmstrom, I think, took a little bit of a step up this year, because obviously if he would have played a full year, probably would have had a career high in points. So hopefully he could do some stuff for us in the playoffs, but he is going to need money coming off his ELC this offseason, so hopefully he doesn't want too much. Gustafsson, pretty solid numbers coming in from Chicago as well. We did make a trade with Chicago, and they were both really good. He was really good defensively, and that's why we brought him in, so good stuff from Gustafsson. Fisher played 52 games, 8 points, plus 3. He was also pretty solid. Now he's listed as a top 6, which means he's also going to start complaining about his ice time, which is not great because he's already signed into next season, so we already have some tough decisions to make in the offseason when we get to that point, but we don't want to worry about that too much right now because we're trying to win a Stanley Cup. So let's take a look at our goalie numbers. Solovyov, wow, 9 shutouts. Damn, that might be a best shutout season I've had from a goalie in quite some time. 43-16 record is really good through 63 games as well. The save percentage and goals against on him and Menard, not necessarily the best, but actually the goals against is good, I'd say. The save percentage, maybe not as much, but Menard had a really tough start to the season, but he definitely had a really good second half, which is good to see. But Solovyov having 9 shutouts is a lot of shutouts. I don't think I've seen a goaltender almost hit 10 shutouts in a long, long time. So shout out to Solovyov. He is down to an exact starter now. He wasn't exact elite like at the start of the year, I'm pretty sure. And he's 33 years old, so Solovyov might be on the decline, which is not ideal. He is in the last year of his deal coming in next season, though. And he has won 2 Vezinas. He might honestly retire before we get a chance to win a cup if his team doesn't get it done this season. All right, let's take a look at stats around the league, see who led in points and all that. The best point getter, I'm going to guess it's Guerin in the Rangers, right? Yep. Jason Guerin's insane. 149 points and also 79 goals, 70 assists. The Rangers also finished below us in the standings. The Rangers and us might have a chance to meet up against each other at some point this playoff run. That's insane numbers from Guerin. Absolutely insane. Connor Bedard behind him with 118. Like, that's a 31-point gap between first and second place in the league. And Guerin doesn't really have the supporting cast. At least he didn't last season. I know Wallace is good. He's got 108 points, former player of ours. But yeah, literally everybody else, I think, on the Rangers doesn't put up a lot of points. Wallace even wasn't putting up a lot of points when he was with us, but since he's played with Guerin, he's been very good. Like, he went from having 25 points with us in a season to, in a few years, going up 70-plus points. It's actually kind of insane. So shout out to Quincy Wallace, but definitely a lot of that's to do with Guerin. Definitely a lot of that is. Best goal scorer of the season, probably Guerin with those 79 goals. Yep, by 15. Guerin's by far the best player in the NHL at this point. There's not even a question about it. And shout out to Woodworth from Columbus, who had 44 goals in 59 games and 62 points. Like, this guy doesn't pick up a lot of points, but he picks up a lot of goals. So, there is that. Best defenseman for points, is it going to be Houghton again? And the answer is yes. Houghton's going to win another Norris Trophy. He beats out Mercier completely in that second half. Better plus-minus as well. So that means Houghton is going to win, I think, his 5th straight Norris Trophy. And 5 Norrises is probably one of the most in my channel's history from a defenseman, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember who had a bunch of Norrises before this in one of my franchise modes. I got to look at my record book thing that my friend made me, but he hasn't updated in a few years. Who was my best defenseman for Norris trophies going into a couple years ago? Curious on that. Looking for a defenseman. Trying to see if I could find us out here. Award records. Oh, there you go. Norris trophies. Oh, yeah. Morgan Griffin, of course, with Morgan Griffin in my Houston Draft Glory Series won 7 Norris trophies, but he also played forward at times. Houghton is going to probably win his 5th without playing forward at all. So, Houghton honestly might be the best offensive defenseman we've ever picked up in a franchise mode. He might be better than Griffin in a way because Griffin played forward at times, so that's insane. Well, I mean, Griffin actually had an Art Ross and stuff like that too, so I can't say that for sure. But Houghton's definitely already locked in, I think, as a Channel Hall of Famer from the series. So there's that. Now, what's kind of interesting is Selma Laine, our former defenseman, still is having good years in Colorado. 64 points and 25 goals. Yeah, Selma Laine is actually doing way better than I anticipated after I flipped him. Kind of wish we held on to him in a way, but at the same time, we had other guys coming up and all that, so it kind of made sense. All right, best goaltender terms of wins this year is going to be Mark Legwand of the Vegas Golden Knights. 53 wins this year. Most shutouts this year, though, is going to be Solovyov by 3 with the 9 shutouts. Best save percentage by a starter is going to be Legwand in Vegas with a .922 through 72 games. That guy had played a ton of games and had great numbers. And he also was up there in goals against. So, easily Mark Legwand is going to win the Vezina this year for the Vegas Golden Knights. Any goalie goals? One from Xander Springus. I do remember playing against Xander in Philadelphia. He gets a goal this season. And most assist is going to be Hoyles and Somers. All right. Jeffrey Somers. All right. Best rookie player this year in terms of points is going to be Silas Gogol of the Flames. Then you also have Conklin with 48 as well. Conklin's probably going to win I was going to say Norris, but then my brain just was like, wait a second. But he's going to end up winning the Calder this year. 48 points plus 13. He's going to win it because of that plus minus. But looks like it was a pretty solid year for rookie points this season. So there is all that. Now the question is, who are we playing in the first round of the playoffs? Obviously, we have the upper hand being a great team, I'd say, regardless of what happens. But I feel like being as good as we were this season, there is also a lot of room for disappointment. So I'm kind of scared about that. So the team we're going to be playing in the first round is going to be the Montreal Canadiens, who finished 42-32-8. Not the craziest season for them, but they did make the playoffs. And if we do a comparison, we could potentially get cheese based on some numbers. They were 22nd in offense. If they find their offensive game, I am a little bit scared. Their goals against, they were 9th, so they're actually a pretty good defensive team. They are also really bad on the power play at 22nd in the league, 14.2%. And our penalty kill wasn't very good either, 82.7%. So the only thing going well for them is their goals against, I guess. But I am kind of scared that, like I said, if they find that offensive game, they might find a way to beat us. So let's take a look at what the Habs look like. Obviously, we have played them in the playoffs, I think, somewhat recently, because if I'm not mistaken, I think we played them in the conference finals a couple years back. So let's take a look at what they look like now. So first line, Zach Benson, who was actually dealt at the deadline. I do remember seeing that. Yeah, 9 points in 18 games with the Habs, 46 points in Buffalo. He's playing next to Cash Alger East, and Eli Anthony is still there. It's an okay top line. Second line has Cameron Addison, Oscar Moeller, and Ryan Rubruck. Yeah, pretty solid top six. Kind of weak still down the middle maybe a bit, but they have okay depth at least. Their third line, Hanyu Nurmi, Jordan Franzen, Nasir Lindsay, and a fourth line of Nate Danielson, Keith Lowe, and Matthew Fraze. It's an interesting team. If Fraze was up here, Nurmi was down, I'd say this is an okay forward group in terms of depth on the wings. Down the middle, I don't know about having an 84 as a top line center, but I mean, I've seen worse teams win series, so not going to say it's bad. From a defensive standpoint, this is definitely where they were really good a few years ago when we played them. Since then, Lane Hudson has dropped off a lot, but it is McArdle and Reinbacher. Lane Hudson's now in 81 at 37. He's playing next to Ilya Brelin, and a top six pairing of Maxim Shirokov and Bear Konopka. So this defensive core, definitely not as strong as last time we played them, but Lane Hudson's still solid enough. Reinbacher's still solid, and in McArdle, is he starting to find his offensive game? Yes, he is. 63 points this year. And yeah, I think it literally was, 2039. Last time we played them in the playoffs, actually, was the last time they made it, I think. And they didn't win the Stanley Cup that year, but they got to the finals, I guess. Goalies, they have Jeffrey Somers. As we mentioned, Somers had a pretty good year this season, a .908 save percentage. Last time we played in the playoffs, he was also very good, so kind of scared about that. And then their backup is Nicholas Koko. From a scratch perspective, they have Sergei Vorobyov. Why do I recognize this guy's name? Toronto. Let me see. Did he ever play in our organization? No, he did not. I feel like I've seen him on a team, but I don't know what team it was. I also have Ino Jokala and Yanni Niemann. I don't really know what to make of that team. I definitely feel like they could be a cheese team, so I'm a little bit scared, but also our team is so good on paper that you think they would find a way to win. Obviously, we haven't been as good in our last 10 games, but we could definitely beat them. But will it happen is the question. Like, this is our roster going into this playoff matchup. You think we should be able to get it done based on our depth and all that. Like, technically, our third line center is as good as our top line center. But this game could literally throw a curveball at us, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I think with how we've structured this team up now, we could literally go to either goaltender in the playoffs. Like, if Solovyov's not playing good, Menard might be really good, because Menard has had some good playoff success before with the LA Kings. So maybe we give a chance to Menard in the postseason at some point if Solovyov isn't pulling his weight. And then defensively, I think we've made ourselves maybe better than last year, just because we have a better fit with Gustafsson on this top six now. Obviously, last year our top six didn't have a great fit. Carlton's an okay fit for this top six, but we can't scheme fit him to fit that pairing. I could take him out of the lineup if I really want to, and I could throw in Fisher instead. Fisher is actually a much better fit for that top six, but I don't really want people losing morale due to ice time, so we'll see what we end up doing. But I think this has got to be what our team looks like, at least going into game one. And obviously, Carlton could get subbed out if he's not playing good. Solovyov could be in the backup role if Menard's playing better, something like that. But we definitely should be able to win, but will the game let us win is the major question going forward. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Your Calendars Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens as we look to get to the second round, and hopefully beyond that too, because we are running out of time. This might be one of the last runs this team gets with how good this roster is on paper, because we might have to make some major adjustments in the offseason due to ice time related things. So excited to see what this team does this postseason, but also a little bit nervous. So listen down below, and I'll see you guys next time.